Okay, we are a little after 1 o'clock, so I think we'll call the meeting of the Salary Board to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead.
I guess we'll start off here. We have a couple of resolutions of the board which are pretty voluminous, so rather than... Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got my regular meeting agenda in front of me, so I started on that. Let me, here's the Salary Board.
Start.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Chairman Schock announced that today's Salary Board meeting was duly advertised in the local newspaper. At this point, we'll ask for public input on agenda items only. Hearing none, a motion is needed to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the Salary Board meeting of Tuesday, February 16th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second on the question. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Motion is needed to eliminate the position of Assistant Director of Tax Claims in the Tax Claims Office.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on the question. And I believe Brenda Shaw, did you want to speak a little bit about what this is about and the the position that's going away and the one that we're creating?
Okay, well, maybe just a little preface. I thought it was an immediate needs, not so immediate needs, and one that we were for the elimination of that position until we could revamp and know better what. Helping out. So if we're of the settlement data. With budget nation. Seen at least 26,000 in savings, which is so I didn't want very hopeful.
Anything else on the question? Okay, there's been motion and a second, and I guess we'll do a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Chairman Shaw.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motions need to create the position of tax claims supervisor in the tax claims office at a starting salary of $26,000.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded on the question. Okay, and again, a roll call vote, please.
Controller Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Best.
Yes.
Yes.
Chairman Shaw.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motions need to create a part-time security guard position as per union contract.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded on the question. Okay, all in favor, we'll have a roll call vote.
Controller Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Best.
Yes.
Yes.
Chairman Shaw.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motions need to change the position of special conflicts in the special and conflicts office from part-time to full-time as per union contract.
Before we take motions on this, I had a conversation with our president judge. We also had a prison board meeting today. He would like to have some conversations with the commissioners regarding several different matters with the court and positions and so forth, and had asked if we would consider tabling this until we've had those conversations. What we anticipate, I think that we figured the date that we normally have our next staff meeting, which is the week before our next public meeting. So before the end of this month, we would reschedule and have a special salary board meeting at that time to address that. And also there were some last minute things that people sent over from other departments to be considered. And frankly, I don't know that we've had time to consider this. Certainly we didn't feel comfortable putting them on the agenda. So with respect to that particular motion, with the understanding that we'll have that meeting on June, I think it's 26th at 11 o'clock, we will advertise for another salary board meeting at that time. I would make a motion to table that motion, table that matter.
Second?
Motion made and seconded on the question. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the matter is tabled.
Only for any old business? Any new business? Public input at this time?
We'll recess to the call of the chair. And now we will move into our agenda for the regular meeting. I'm sorry, so did you? Need something? Under the salary board meeting or the? No. Okay, we will, and is it on one of the agenda items on this meeting? Okay, all right, we'll let you know when we get to that point in the meeting, so, no problem. Okay. This is the latest. All right, the first things as I started on prematurely before, we have 3 resolutions. We want to recognize some individuals and some departments today. The first is a resolution recognizing the staff of Northumberland County Children and Youth. And Katrina, you're here with some of your staff. This one's not too long. I guess I can read this off. Whereas the week of June 4th through the 8th, 2018 has been proclaimed as Child Welfare Professionals Appreciation Week by Governor Wolf, recognizing the efforts of child welfare professionals serving the children of Pennsylvania. And whereas every day in Northumberland County, local children are at risk of child abuse and neglect. Some have been removed from their homes due to such abuse and neglect. And whereas we, the Commissioners of Northumberland County, recognize the risks and need to intervene to protect the children of this county. And whereas the challenging work of investigating child abuse and providing services to families services to families to assure that the children of Northumberland County are provided with healthy, nurturing care, support as they transition into adulthood, and needed services in the family to be able to reunify falls to Northumberland County Children and Youth Services. And whereas the work of these dedicated professionals requires them to enter into situations in which their personal safety may be put at risk. And whereas our committed professionals work with children who have been victimized by physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, and other forms of maltreatment. And whereas the professionals of Northumberland County Children and Youth must develop great skill in working with families who are in crisis situations, struggling with mental health challenges, suffering from drug and alcohol afflictions, poverty, and other issues. And whereas the professionals of Northumberland County Children and Youth must possess substantial knowledge and skills in a myriad of areas to effectively serve the families of Northumberland County. And whereas the staff of Northumberland County Children and Youth endeavor to protect the children of Northumberland County, often with long hours, tremendous demands, little appreciation, and great criticism. And whereas many injuries and possibly deaths of children in Northumberland County have been averted due to the efforts of Northumberland County Children and Youth, therefore, in special recognition of the efforts of Northumberland County Children and Youth, we, the Commissioners of Northumberland County, do hereby issue this resolution, recognizing the staff of Northumberland County Children and Youth for their dedicated efforts in protecting the children of Northumberland County. And signed by the 3 commissioners. So, thank you. Do you want to, or do we want to read off each of these and then you can come up for your?
You want to do?
Rather than, because the president likes to sometimes get photographs, how about we'll have everybody come up then in turn. Did you want to do that one or not? I said it didn't look too long, but reading it seems pretty long. Does anybody else want? There's 2 more. So would you like to read one of the 2? The next one here I'll handle. That's Carmine's, and then that's our 911. Yeah, I think that's multiple copies. Okay, the next resolution is a resolution stepping up to reduce the number of people with mental illness in jails on behalf of BHIDS. This was a topic at our prison board meeting earlier today. Whereas counties routinely provide treatment services to the estimated 2 million people with serious mental illnesses booked each year. Whereas prevalence rates of serious mental illnesses in jails are 3 to 6 times higher than for the general public. Whereas almost 3/4 of adults with serious mental illnesses in jails have co-occurring substance abuse disorders, whereas adults with mental illnesses tend to stay longer in jail and, upon release, are at a higher risk of recidivism than people without these disorders. Whereas county jails spend 2 to 3 times more on adults with mental illnesses that require interventions compared to those with these treatment needs. Whereas without the appropriate treatment and services, people with mental illnesses continue to cycle through the criminal justice system, often resulting in tragic outcomes for these individuals and their families. Whereas Northumberland County and all counties take pride in their responsibility to protect and enhance the health, welfare, and safety of its residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. Whereas Boundary Spanner as the point of contact for mental health and substance abuse services. I'm thinking there was a type. Whereas through stepping up, the National Association of Counties, the Council of State Governments Justice Center, and the American Psychiatric Association Foundation are encouraging public, private, and nonprofit partners to reduce the number of people with mental illnesses in jails. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that Northumberland County Board of Commissioners do hereby sign on to the call to action to reduce the number of people with mental illnesses in our county jail, commit to sharing lessons learned with other counties in our state and across the country to support a national initiative, and encourage all county officials, employees, and residents to participate in stepping up. We resolve to utilize the comprehensive resources available through Stepping Up to convene or draw on diverse team of leaders and decision makers from multiple agencies committed to safely reducing the number of people with mental illnesses in jails, to collect and review prevalence numbers and assess individuals' needs to better identify adults entering jails with mental illnesses and their recidivism risk, and to use that baseline information to guide decision making at the system, program, and case levels. to examine treatment and service capacity to determine which programs and services are available in the county for people with mental illnesses and co-occurring substance use disorders, and identify state and local policy and funding barriers to minimizing contact with the justice system and providing treatment and supports in the community, to develop a plan with measurable outcomes that draws on the jail assessment and prevalence data and the examination of available treatment and service capacity while considering identified barriers, to implement research-based approaches that advance the plan, and to create a process to track progress using data and information systems and to report on successes. And that's also signed by each of the 3 commissioners. So, and Carmine, if you're there, we'll have you come up then as well after we read this third.
Okay. And mine, I'm actually doing this on behalf of Representative Kurt Mosser for the Commonwealth in the House of Representatives. And this is going out to 911, public safety, and EMS, specifically motivated by your handling with the Cologne shooting, the standoff with the police. The dispatchers were enormously helpful in redirecting traffic. I happened to be in town that day for a meeting, and they did an outstanding job at keeping people calm, keeping them out of the crime scene. They were extremely professional, and we all thank you. And on behalf of Kurt Mosser, he thanks you also. And very simply and to the point, each of you will receive a certificate of recognition for outstanding dedication to public safety, and we're going to honor you with great appreciation for your commitment to your community. Thank you for going above and beyond, serving the citizens in the city of Shamokin. And it is on February 26th and 27th of 2018, presented by the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, Kurt Mosser, State Representative, 107th Legislative District. And we have one for each of the following. We have Brandon Ulrich, John Stuck, Matthew, is it Reich? Zachary Culp. So congratulations and thank you very much. It's quite an honor.
Thank you. At this time, maybe you could initially have our representatives from Children and Youth come up. We'll take them in the order they were on the agenda. And if the press wants to get any photographs of the presentation to them.
Just 4.
Come on up here. They usually, it's
Yeah, they're both in. Okay. I should announce also, yeah, in addition to Kurt Mosser, also the city of Shamokin is honoring those same people for the same reason, and they're included in here. Is Mr. Slavey. Mr. Slavey's doing that, so thank you, Mr. Slavey.
Trying to tell you guys something? Yeah, I know. It's like, thanks for the
Way to go, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Colin.
Thank you.
911. So we have
they-
Mr.
there's
Slavey.
one- Oh,
I know.
Two gentlemen here. I don't know the gentleman.
I was told John Stuck. There's John, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
behalf of the Mayor of Shamokin, John Brown, and Tobias, as the city of Materius present or
Just
Okay.
work together.
We'll continue on, I guess, with citizens' input.
It's smooth.
This is citizen input for on the agenda items only. Is that? Hearing none. A motion is needed to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the Commissioners' public meeting held on Tuesday, May 1st, 2018, and the special public meeting held on Tuesday, May 8th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second on the question. All in favor, state aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to pay all county and liquid fuel payrolls as submitted by the Human Resource Office for payroll number 9, the amount of $682,217.29. Payroll number 10 in the amount of $713,945.74. And payroll number 11 in the amount of $686,039.13.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion need to pay all county and liquid fuel bills as submitted by the county controller in the amount of $7,848,080.50 from April 28, 2018 to June 1, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor, state aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Announcements. A work session will be held on Tuesday, June 19, 2018, beginning at 10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Conference Room. The next regular public meeting will be held on Tuesday, July 10, 2018, at 1 p.m. in the public meeting room at the Administration Center, 399 Stadium Drive, Sunbury. The Northumberland County Courthouse, Administration Center, and related county facilities will be closed on Thursday, June 14, 2018, in observance of the Flag Day holiday, and Wednesday, July 4, 2018, in the observance of the Independence Day holiday. The Northumberland County Area Agency on Aging, in cooperation with the Pennsylvania Department of Aging, is pleased to announce that the Pennsylvania Farmers Market Nutrition Program vouchers are available for Northumberland County citizens who meet the guidelines. Northumberland County agrees to assist with funding the construction of handicap bathrooms at the Moser Complex located in Lewis Township from the proceeds of the timbering of trees, pending bid quotes, specs, township approval, and proof of insurance.
I'd like to make a statement on the last one on E, Rick. Yeah, I thought Mr. Hopta was going to be here. One of the things I wanted to let the public know is that this is a project that Chuck Hopta, our engineer, has been working on since last fall. It had to do with putting the handicap bathrooms up in the complex, sports complex, up in the Moser complex. And basically, he dealt with timbering the area, the complex, so that we could get the finance to do the bathrooms. He has been in contact, and we have been in contact with the organization up there for months, since last fall. This spring, it was timbered. We did get the funding. We have now talked with the organization about getting bids and quotes and specs on what they need up there. So this is a project that has been going on for a long time. One of the things I just want to say is that at one time there was a statement made by, at some meeting, that Mr. Shuck and myself are against handicapped people or handicapped bathrooms. That is the farthest from the truth. That is an outright lie. I have been working on this personally and along with the board on this facility. I have been an advocate, and Rick has been an advocate of the special needs people. We go to the Special Olympics up in Mount Carmel every year and help with them. I've done it before I was in office. I've done it since I've been in office. We also go have been at the self-determination banquets for the special needs people. When I was a teacher for 36 years, I took all the special needs kids in my classroom and worked with them. So I take offense of anyone saying that I am or Rick is against any type of special needs people. So just so we can make that clear.
I just have a few comments. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Tom Aber, who heads up the Northumberland County Recreation Authority, who has been triumphing this project for quite some time. I think what Mr. Commissioner Shikatano is referring to is that Mr. Aber went to the Northumberland County Housing Authority. They have their own budget. It's over $70,000. And the majority of that board agreed to give a contribution towards this project, not pay for all of it, but a contribution, because it was felt that the timbering would not be enough. I mean, we had a bid come in this week that was outrageous. It was $37,000. You know, obviously that's going to be rejected, but it's somewhere in the ballpark, we believe, and we'll still have to get bids of $19,000 to $23,000. The timbering was estimated to be about $15,000. So Mr. Aber took it upon himself to go to another board, the Northumberland County Housing Board, and ask that board for a contribution. They agreed to give that contribution. The issue is, in their bylaws, in their rules, it says that this board has to actually agree with that expenditure. So they vote on it, and then it has to come to an agenda through our chairman on this board, and then we have to agree for them to allow to make that expenditure. That was an issue that was never put on the agenda. So there was a meeting in Cole Township where Mr. Fetterman had some words about why it is that they wouldn't release this money to allow these bathrooms to get started or to contribute to what the county would have to contribute. Nobody ever said that, you know, either one of these commissioners are against handicap bathrooms or anything like that. They just were motivated to get the project done. Money was earmarked. It never made it to the agenda, and that was where the rub was. I believe now that we're looking at maybe contributions from maybe that housing authority and maybe even the folks that run the complex themselves, because they have their own budget. But certainly I did want to recognize Mr. Aber, because the only thing he was trying to do was move the project forward.
The authority rescinded the motion. It was not up to us to sign anything. The vote, they rescinded to take that motion and disallow that motion. It basically never came to us because it was never a motion that should have been brought to us. Also, at the time, the authority did not know we were doing the timbering up there, and the timbering did come in somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000. So there is significant funds, at least enough funds if we get the correct bids, I think, to do the project, along with the help of the organization up there that is running the field, who are the ones that we have been dealing with, because they're the ones that are in control of what happens up there. So we went through the correct channels to take care of that. I will say that Mr. Aber did bring it to our attention, I think, last spring, and at that time we started looking into it. But the people who actually run the the fields up there, that are in charge of the fields up there, and who actually sent a request in to our office for the official building of the bathrooms, is the organization that was up there who voted on that.
Frank Garrigan, aren't you the solicitor for that authority? Can you
I think
just speak about what the process
The
would
authority
be?
in question is not the
Yeah, I was
housing
gonna say,
authority.
Sorry,
it's a
apologize.
point of order,
It's the
not
Northumberland
housing.
County Authority.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I am the solicitor for the
Okay,
authority.
so could you explain the process by which Mr. Aber could seek that funds, or what had happened and why it didn't go through?
My understanding is that the Northumberland County authorities, it's either their bylaws or their articles, state that they may not do a project that without the prior consent of the commissioners. And the board there asked me to define whether or not this consisted of a project. And basically, the answer was, it was unclear whether or not it was a project. I was of the opinion that they should probably err on the side of it being a project and seeking the permission of the commissioners. At that time, they did pass a motion initially to make a donation, and then subsequently, when the matter was brought to the commissioners, I believe, stated that they were going to use the timber money, and then the motion was subsequently rescinded. And that's my understanding of
Just
it.
to be clear, when he says commissioners, it was not me. So, just to be clear.
But I think
Well,
that
was
the
stated
point
was
was,
that we
it was
already
never
were
placed
getting
on the
money from
agenda.
them. Yeah.
Correct, it was never placed on the agenda.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, and I think that, to be clear as well, and again, Frank, you were at the meetings, part of the issue was, and this part is my opinion, part of it is factual, and Frank can confirm that in terms of what went on at the meetings, but the county authority has, for many years, was utilized to basically direct funds. There was not a process in place where projects were being bid out. It should be no surprise to anybody, given the fact that for a long time, the entire authority was made up of all people from one municipality, that most of those projects were things in just that one municipality, and yet those funds ultimately were derived from general taxpayer dollars from Northumberland County taxpayers. Ultimately, they may have sold a property or something. That would have been a property that at one point had been purchased with Northumberland County taxpayer dollars, everyone in the county. And as you can see, there's been some things in the paper on other matters as well where we have taken a position that we are, and we ran, frankly, Commissioner Chickatano and I on this, is that putting an end to these sort of special interest type expenditures where, all the taxpayers are subsidizing pet projects in just one location. And it doesn't matter where that one location is. But that just isn't right. And I was actually, I found it kind of interesting. There was a recent letter to the editor from the representative from one of those that essentially was saying, what are you complaining about? We're if you boil it down, it was, what are you complaining about? We're skimming some off the top, but it's just a small amount. It only comes to $4 per taxpayer is essentially what was being said. And I just disagree with that fundamentally. When we said, wait, we want to step back and have the authority, and the new members of the authority had said that they wanted to take a look at the process by which funds were going out to different groups and really kind of putting an end to that. One particular member who had been on the authority before and was from that municipality started making motions, it's my understanding, to just give the money away willing-it like to various municipalities all over the county, and the question was put to him by the chairman, and correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, as to whether or not these municipalities had even requested funds or donations, and the answer was no. So again, that's not responsible use of funds, in my opinion. So I think that is why the authority members, led by some of the newer members that we've appointed, are taking a look at this whole process and how we are going about, putting funds out when it's ultimately taxpayer money that is going out to these things, and doing it in a way that is fair and responsible, and questioning whether or not, as a municipal authority whose basic function is to finance properties, and they get lease payments from the county for buildings that they hold, essentially on behalf of the county, are the lease payments such that they're generating these additional funds in an amount that exceeds what they should be. And so basically we wanted to put a hold on all those things until that larger question was looked into, and that seemed to spur this, the very next meeting, we want to give it to Sunbury, we wanted to give it to Milton, we wanted to give it, and there wasn't even a project associated with it. Again, it's unfortunate that it plays out that way and these things become political footballs, but that's where we're at. So
Bottom line is the organization in charge of the building, the field up there where the building is going to be done for the handicap bathrooms, is in contact with us since last fall. It's going to be taken care of one way or the other once the quotes and things come in that are appropriate, and it will all be worked out. That's the bottom line. Go ahead.
First of all, that list of
I didn't say it was you at all, Tom. I didn't mean you.
no, but I don't know if that list is definitely not me. I wanted to you knew probably 20,000. Build a whole building. Building. You're looking to build a handicap toilet. I've you can get in a handicap toilet with a wheel, doesn't work. I don't care if it's 7 feet long, 7 feet wide.
Nobody has ever mentioned to me about a pole building. The bid we do
I
have,
heard that the other day.
the bid we do have from that organization isn't a pole building, but it is high, I think. So we need to get 3 bids because of the cost.
But you know, they make money up there.
Well, we're looking into that. I've been in touch with them.
Because I asked some quotes, what they pay the PIAA a game.
Yep.
And I know
If after the meeting you want to discuss, the bids that you might have, that's, we can do that. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
Motion is needed for the Commissioners to sign the state tax equalization voucher for transfers of real estate for the month of April 2018, as submitted by the Assessment Office.
So moved.
Second?
on the question, all in favor state aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the employee status sheet list of new hires, individuals no longer employed, promotions, demotions, and transfers as items number 1 through 23.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the following reports as listed on your public meeting agenda.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to ratify the signing of the consent for right of entry for ingress and egress on behalf of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for Fairview Gun Club Subsidence 3.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
A motion is needed to ratify the signing of a letter by the Commissioners to municipal officials announcing the opening of the federal fiscal year 2018 Community Development Block Grant CDBG program.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all in favor state aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed authorizing permission to advertise for bids for refuse hauling from Northumberland County facilities, including the prison located in Northumberland County South Campus.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to implement a 2% raise for the non-union employees retroactive to the first pay period of 2018.
So moved.
Second.
In second on the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the installation of a new air conditioning unit from Sunbury Supply at a quote of $5,178 for the first floor conference room located in the Administration Center.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to ratify the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the County of Northumberland and Housing Authority of Northumberland County on behalf of CEDACOG to perform the on-site environmental reviews for the authority.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the following change orders for the Northumberland County Prison as listed on your public meeting agenda.
Motion?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second. On the question, Mr. Rothman, oh, Todd, there you are, okay. I don't know if you wanted to talk at all about these, or?
Well, just as a summary, at the start of the prison, we had $800,000.
Todd, these are things that we have discussed at our construction meetings, things that are necessary, things that either were overlooked or an upgrade from what we felt was going to be done with the prison, correct? Yes.
Anything further on the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, one abstention, motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the purchase of a fully equipped 2009 Ford Expedition police cruiser from the Point Township Police Department at a cost of $3,000 on behalf of the Sheriff's Office.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second on the question. I'll abstain from this as I'm the solicitor for Point Township, so.
Sheriff, have you test drove this car? Okay.
And I can tell you, even though I shouldn't vote on it and I'll abstain, I can tell you that, as the sheriff pointed out in his emails, the chief out at Point is meticulous, and he takes very good care of everything he has out there, especially the vehicle, so.
Okay.
All right.
With vote.
Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, or with one abstention, mine. Motion carries.
Motion needed to approve the following resolutions. Northumberland County Children and Youth Staff Recognition, June 4th, 2018, stepping up to reduce the number of people with mental illness in jails.
So moved.
Second.
Motion? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed authorizing travel requests and attendance at the following workshop seminars as in accordance with the county's personnel manual travel reimbursement policy as stated on your public meeting agenda.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to adopt Resolution R38-18, project agreement between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Department of Information Services and Lightspeed Technologies Incorporated for configuration of all network equipment for the Northumberland County Prison. This is a ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R39-18, maintenance agreement between the Northumberland County Commissioners and Modern Group Power Systems for the maintenance of generators located at the Northumberland County South Campus, Cole Township, Pennsylvania. This is a ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R40-18, contract between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of Weatherization and Green Kite for conducting quality control inspections for the Northumberland County Weatherization Program for fiscal year 2018-19. This is a ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R41-18, renewal of annual service agreement between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Department of Public Safety and Motorola Solutions for maintenance service for all 911 systems. Ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R42-18, coal land lease agreement between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the county engineer and H&P Construction Incorporated. This is ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R43-18, grant agreement between the Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Department of Public Safety and the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency in the amount of $6,330 for the Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness HMEP Planning Training Grant for fiscal year 2017-18. This is ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R44-18, resolution authorizing the execution of the agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development for fiscal year 2017 Community Development Block Grant Program in the amount of $609,763.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any, motion passes.
Motion to adopt Resolution R45-18, amendments to lease agreement between the Commissioners and of Northumberland County and Central Susquehanna Opportunities located at 2 East Arch Street, Shamokin, Pennsylvania.
So moved.
Second.
On the question,
This is the only one I didn't have time to look at. What changed?
For CSO, it's more space.
Oh, that's right. Yep. All right, sorry. That's right.
further on the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to adopt Resolution R47-18, agreements, amendments, revisions, grants, leases, and reports between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Human, Senior, and Social Services and the named service providers as listed, numbers 1 through 18. The above agreements, amendments, revisions, grants, leases, and reports are not with county employees, nor does their organizational contract list county employees as principals in their corporation or on their board of directors, with the exception of contract number 16. Brittany Duke Williams is currently an employee of Northumberland County.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second on the question. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Frank, did we skip over the
We
budget
skipped
amendment?
over,
We never gave, we have to do the non-agenda items for the gentleman in the back.
we didn't do.
No, I'm thinking,
Okay.
did we do?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
motion
sorry.
aye. Yeah.
My apologies. Motion to adopt Resolution R46-18, Commissioner's Budget Amendment as listed.
Motion?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second. On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Abstain.
opposed? One abstention. Motion passes. Okay, is there any old business to come before the board? Okay. Any new business? And right here, we have some representatives from the AOAA with good news, I hear.
Commissioners, I'm Dave Forsey, Director of Operations for Northumberland County After Setup. That this
Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. It's-
I'd just like to add a personal note here. A lot of you people know there's a lot of you
Larry and Dave, just one thing. I've been up there a lot, and this is a pleasant surprise. I want to thank you and the board and Jim and everybody up there. And I think this now shows not only what kind of gain we have from your park in the lower end of the county, but now I think the people up in the northern end and the end of the area around here see now all the taxpayers are getting some type of benefit from supporting you guys. And you do a great job. Keep it up. I'm behind you, and thank you for doing this today.
Thank you very much.
I just have to say, because I was, I think, at the very first meeting, and it wasn't even called the AOAA. I don't even remember it was
We
called.
didn't have a name.
Yeah.
We didn't have a name.
But I mean, I'm so proud of you guys. I mean, because I remember thinking, what the heck are they talking about? And then we went to a couple of them, and you put me in a Hummer, and we got stuck, and I had to be pulled out. And I just have to tell you something. It's not really possible without management. I mean, you can have an idea, you can do all the work, you can get all the political backing, but unless you sort of keep moving that snowball forward, nothing will happen. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
This project has a lot of volunteers. It could never have been done without the volunteers and the support of your board, of this board, overall. But it
Thank you so much.
Well, maybe too, Dave, when we're done, stick around, we can get a picture of the presentation, guys.
And Dave, yeah, I know, as you know, Dave wasn't around, but Barry was, at the beginning of this, and I had some issues with how some things were set up in terms of what the board makeup was going to look like and representation from the communities, where I felt like it could have been done a little better. But I think I told you at that time, after the vote was done, that we move forward from here, and I'd be supportive of it. I hope you feel that the decisions that, that I've made or played a role in, that I've been true to that. I think it's a good thing for the county. I had some input which wasn't well received by some, but where I thought that it could have maybe been handled a little differently to get better buy-in on the front end. But you're doing well, and I'm glad to see it. So.
I hope in retrospect you can look back and think that you made the right decision.
Thank you. Do you guys want to come up?
Sure.
Maybe when we're done.
When we're done. Yeah, we're almost finished. Yeah, we'll.
I don't know if there's anybody else that's coming up.
Was there anything else for new business? Oh, I'm sorry. He wanted to speak, I think, under public input. So it's time now for public input. There's a gentleman in the back who wanted to speak, I believe.
We're going to do that. That's I want excuse that. That's when I take
take great pride in my home. I have all that siding in my basement. Or the county has sold that property 4 times for tax. Last time anything to this month. Officer. Property is the local or state government sees unfit for satisfied on Sam. With it's a great view of my home. Significant. We continue. Probably should. And I the government for the city. Property. We'll get into. The keys. That money, they total of 8. I had filed a right. I want to know what that money. At the end of that program, lasted 15. By a block review. In 2014, the CDBG gave that grant. Act for in budget every year for elected officials. Property. Uvalde County, yes. Blighted property. Title 26 officer have a right to home value. There's been people I'm saying that property value of those affecting the
My first question would be, and I would check with the city, have you ever found a list putting the order of worst, in case there is blight money? Is there a list on how they should be taken care of?
I can add that to my right to know list,
Yeah.
but I don't believe there is. I don't believe the forms are being filled out from talking to Rick yesterday. And even in the budget several years, money that has not been part of the city.
I mean, maybe I can talk to some of the city officials, some type of list of priority when there is money, so they know exactly which ones are in worse shape that need to be taken down, because I'm from Shamokin too. I know we're not going to be able to take them all down in 1 year. That's not going to happen, but we should be making a list of the ones that are in the worst shape that might be dangerous to other people, that need to be taken down, in the beginning when we have the money, and we can talk with.
The bidding process that they have is atrocious. They bid a property at a time through a third party. The city of Philadelphia, average demolition cost of a 4 streets down 24,000. And the company properties, and the token is a far. Has to be at household income. Okay. Something definitely accountability. There seems to be business mind. Really, to be honest with you, I've been going. I made the front. That was while somebody was living in the other side.
I know the present council has been talking to us, me specifically, about, the blight problem there, and we have different ways to deal with it, but it's an enormous task in the city there. I will try and meet with them myself, and because I know they're supportive of cleaning up the town. So-
In the past, there was,
Because Mayor Brown was on council. Public safety. Those years. I think experience and your complaints fall on deaf ears.
well, I think from our end, to the extent that you feel there's some communication issues that could be rectified between ourselves and the city, I mean, we can reach out to them to see what, if anything, we can assist with. I think that a lot of this is, it's the responsibility of each municipality in terms of how they handle that. We have other communities, and I believe that Shamokin gets their own CDBG grant funding where we have a certain amount that we allocate countywide to, but we can't allocate it to those because they get their own allocation, and we've taken a certain portion of ours, and it's a fairly significant portion, and that goes to our housing authority, who then uses it to address blight countywide. But I can tell you that certainly in the past, I know there's been some meetings regarding blight issues, specifically out in the coal regions, and Shamokin has participated in those meetings, as has the county. So they appear to be aware of the problem. I think that to the extent that we can offer to meet with them and find out if there's anything from our standpoint in terms of our tax sales, things like that we can do to be helpful to get information to them or prompt to get from them. I think we're certainly more than willing to do that, and try and do our part. So.
I mean, at the end of the day, my family. Means is several years.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Camilla?
I can chat with you afterwards, just tell you what I know, and what Rick was saying was what I was going to say is that the money that the county authorizes to go towards blighted properties goes into a pool of money through the Northumberland County Housing Authority, and the way that that's used typically is that it's used to leverage, it's like a match fund, okay, so that they can get match dollars to have larger projects. When they pool more than one source of money, let's say they pool some money that's for blight, but they pool it together to get match dollars, sometimes my understanding is that there are requirements now that you can't tear it down unless you have a specific project to be erected where it stood, because they mix the money, okay? They didn't set blight money aside. In 2005, there was little to no effort with blight. Blight has been, I think, a relatively new challenge in that there's a concerted effort. Commissioner Shigentano and I think the end of our first year of office, attended a meeting where state and federal representatives came out to Atlas to basically say that Northumberland County and Northumberland County Housing Authority was doing a great job because they came up with a strategy where they would be able to pool the money, still follow the rules and the requirements, but begin to get things done. The thing that wasn't answered at the end of the day, and that Atlas project was one, they took 10 properties, tore them down, and made 5 apartment buildings because they combined several different sources. Local, state, county, right. Now, we had a golf tournament on Friday, and it was for blight, specifically to collect money for blight. I was handed some notes right before that meeting to announce to people. And one of the notes is that through a new Keystone Initiative grant, there is going to be $60,000 annually now that is set aside just for demo. No strings attached. And my understanding was that was, the way it was presented to me to tell people at that event was that this was new. And I don't know that enough about it, but I know that it is going to be set aside specifically to tear down buildings. So I know, and this is a long haul for you since 2005. I can only tell you that the ball's really just gotten rolling in the last 3 years, where they're trying to look into new legislation, where they're trying to push for legislation to even purchase equipment so that maybe the county or the city of Shamokin can do this in-house. So there's a lot of new initiatives going on, but I'd like to get some information from you so that I can provide the information that I have later, if that's okay.
Well, with part of what you said about pooling funds together, in 2015, you guys did that.
Right.
And you gave money. Property next ward, I know.
I'm not sure the amount that you're
believe
talking
it-
about, if that went directly to Schmoker, if that would have gone to, if that was again, if it was CDBG funds, it would have gone to our, maybe there was some other, I'm not recalling.
Let me find it here.
Do you recall anything with that, Frank? Or?
Sounds about the amount that we gave for countywide in 2015.
No, it was specifically for Shamokin. It was called the Keystone.
Had been passed through from the state.
There was supposed to be a panel afterwards about the
Might have been a state grant type program. Actually, it's too bad if Kathy Jeremiah
That's what
was
I
here,
was
she
thinking.
would probably have the specifics on it. She would have probably been involved with that. But offhand, it's not registering with me, but it may have been, it sounds like it was a state type program, and we were the sort of a pass-through entity to get it and allocate it out to communities in need.
That
But
it was state and county.
yeah,
funded.
yeah.
But either way, I mean,
We'll make an inquiry with Kathy about, because I would think she would have been involved with it to see, if there was something else that needs to be done on the county end, now that that allocation's been made. We're not, okay, the shore,
Sure.
okay. Okay. Yeah, he's thinking it may have been involved with the demolition on the Shroyer building project.
That Kurt
Is
Massey
that-
got, and that's in the amount of over $600,000.
We'll take a look into it. If you leave your information here and we can we'll look into it and find out what exactly that was
I have
and
what they did
where
with the
that.
money. They demoed 8 properties.
Oh, okay.
And they purchased an emergency squad vehicle
Yeah.
with $275,000. If I was the governing body over them, I would want to know where the rest of the money is, or why wasn't it used? You know, since it's such up to the tax, here. Yes, that's because how do we know these are blighted? And when allow unfit for use Both sides.
We can, again, take a look into the things on our end and get some answers to you, and if there is something else that needs to, that should have been done, obviously we'll address that, and any communication issues. It sounds like some of your issues are, if not the majority, are potentially with the city officials, but also you have some things that maybe we play a role in.
County's normal to sell assets not.
It basically will have tax sales if the property owners aren't paying their taxes. There's a schedule for that, and we can't do that until a property has been hasn't paid their taxes for a certain period of time. So there's a schedule because the property owners still have certain rights, and so we can't move as quickly as in many cases a lot of people would probably like, us and the city, because of that. Janelle, you might be able to talk a little bit about some of the specifics, like, in terms of the timeframes and involved and so
Is your
forth.
specific question, do we check to see if a property is condemned before we put it up for an upset sale or a judicial sale?
It's my understanding that our code enforcement I don't know if that's being done.
I don't know if it's necessarily, I don't know if it's blighted properties. You probably get a list of those that, we would have that because we'd know if they haven't paid their taxes, and so we generate a list. But not blighted per se.
But if it's unfit for human habitation.
I don't know that we get a
I think
list of that.
that would just be with the code office in the
Yeah.
city.
From our standpoint, we can only move against a property if it's for because of non-payment of taxes.
For eminent domain.
Yeah, if we were to say, listen, there's some other need, a county need, and we're now gonna, basically take that property, but then a court will tell us, okay, well, you have to compensate the owner a certain amount, that they view as fair. But in terms of any lists that we would get and act on, those would be lists of properties that have not paid their taxes for a period of time. The code issues.
It's a normalcy for them just to keep getting sold and sold and sold and sold and nothing being done about it. Now, the county has the ability, the city has the ability, and the state has the ability to put a lien. And especially if it's sold under tax sale, you can property that they right at, cost of demolition. That's under tight.
Explain it. Not the other property, only the one that's subject to that tax. That's a different,
thing.
there's condemnation, tax liability, and eminent domain. Those are three different separate areas of law.
Right. I have the paperwork that states that you guys are able to, under state legislative.
I'd be happy to take a look at that.
Okay, I'll find it for you. I don't want to take up.
I mean, we could take it by eminent domain.
But I mean, like, your is a huge problem.
It is.
That's being taken from the city. What properties are blighted tax sale. That way they're not a state or a town. Some of these properties, especially, are in such dilapidated. Have to tear it down to
There are certain restrictions that we're always asked. Why do we sell it to people from out of town? Why don't we look into these people's backgrounds before? There are only certain requirements. There are only certain things that we can do to put up a roadblock at a tax sale. We don't have the complete authority to say no one from outside of Northumberland County can purchase this, or nobody from New Jersey can purchase this. I mean, we don't have that. That's not a legal tool that we have to keep people that do that. I know what you're talking about. They're absent, landowners, property owners. They don't upkeep their property. They don't keep it up to code. They don't pay the taxes, and this is a cycle. And that is a constant question that we ask our state legislators to help us with, but we don't, in and of ourselves, have the ability to stop those people from bidding on the property. There's a few requirements that we can, but not an all-out ban.
But I mean stopping the bidding of the property, because it should.
Right. Well, so the choice is, the hope is if we put it out for bid, someone will buy it, either tear it down or remediate it, because they're sold for next to nothing by the time they're sold. The other choice would be, what you're suggesting, is we would hang on to it, and then the county ourselves would have this large collection of blighted or condemned properties, which we don't have a budget to tackle. That's why we work through the Keystone block grants. We pool money with the cities and other townships. We allow the Housing Authority to go after other grants. We try to pool our money, prioritize the worst of the worst, and do the best that we can with the little money that we have. It's a real challenge. I'm not denying that it exists. It's just, if we collected them all over the county, I'm not sure what would we do with them. I mean, our budget doesn't allow to.
I've been looking at the situation just for,
Right.
as far as what to do and what steps to take. There are different programs. High level, I don't know.
Sure. We can't administrate city government. We can't tell
The
them.
governing body over the city.
That's for specific reasons, like eminent domain, the taxing body, but we can't tell the city council how to handle code or ordinances.
How they spend their funds.
We can't do
Yeah,
that. They're independent. They're an independent municipality.
Okay.
Right.
Same as the state
Right.
can't come in and tell us how to spend our funds in our budget. That's a decision that's made here. Now, they do have certain purview over some of the things that we do, and obviously if it's state monies that are flowing through, they can put restrictions on that, but we are separate bodies of government. Yeah.
All right, well, I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
One thing. I just want to mention that, so that we don't forget, that back in, I think, November of last year, the county enacted an additional fee through the Register and Recorder's Office.
Right.
To produce additional revenue, and we just recently had a meeting with the Housing Authority, to develop means to use that revenue as well. So that was something the county did last year to produce additional revenue.
And I forget what the amount was that they said. Now, that I don't know. Actually, that'd be worth looking into. I don't know if that has the same restrictions as what CDBG would have. We might be able to apply that and see,
It's a per transaction fee through the Register and Recorder's Office. I'm not sure, we haven't distributed it yet
Yeah.
to, we just recently met with the Housing Authority.
But the Housing Authority is the one who has it. It goes to them, I think.
Will go to them,
Yeah,
yes.
will go to them. So, yeah.
We're getting
I
about
mean, that might be
6,000 a
able to-
month.
Yeah.
Sir, did you hear that?
I think
I'm sorry, I was looking.
Oh, the controller reminded us that in
November of last year.
November of last year, the chairman put on the agenda, and this board approved an additional fee when you, is it your real estate transaction at the court level?
record a mortgage.
You record your mortgage transaction. We added an additional, was it $2 or was it 15?
It was 10, it was probably 10 or 15.
10, 12,
Yeah, it might be,
15,
yeah.
something like that, specifically, though, to give to the Housing Authority to deal with this. So they would have additional funds to deal with this. So that was an effort that we had to give them more money that they could leverage more of these blighted properties through other funds, by pooling it with other funds.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do, I can appreciate that. My issue again is, and dollar was spent at the park and recreation budget was spent.
City,
The city, correct.
I don't know.
And I honestly don't understand how they're properties that are
But again, if we don't allow people to purchase those properties, sometimes people will purchase them with the intention of tearing it down. And then we have a lot of times where people will buy the home, in a situation such as yours, it goes to tax sale. They're like, you know what, I can get it for next to nothing, and I'm going to tear it down, and I have a larger yard. I just now got rid of the eyesore next to me, and I increased the value of my property due to the fact that now I have a side yard, or I could put up you could sell it as a lot. So if we weren't to allow people to purchase it just because it was blighted, then again, what would we do with that property? We do not have the funds to address every blighted property in this county. So, yeah, no.
it would be the municipality's task to use the state funding from whichever program.
Not once we take it. If the county takes a property by eminent domain, and there's a whole list of requirements that you have to meet in order to do that, I'm not even sure that this would be met. But if we do that, it's ours. We can't mandate anything then. It becomes 100% our responsibility.
Well, couldn't you sell it for a bigger yard then? Since it
Properties are being. I can do it. No. Animals living on. That's being all.
also become in
We constantly go to. What to say. Cycle. Absent. Constantly have their
taxes are lower, better conditions, government's in order. We go back. That's the answer our city gets.
They walk away, they roll their eyes,
That's
and
what they do.
they
That's
tell us what we
highest
want
paid
to hear.
official in the city, and that's what you get. You don't even live there or pay taxes there, but we pay them. Yeah, property tax.
So please know that every year, the commissioners host a blight forum. Both state representatives come, Representative Mosser, Representative Linda Schlegel-Culliver, they come. We bring all kinds of people from the state level, from the Housing Association Authority, and these kinds of conversations happen every single year. And every single year, we get together and try to collect money and target properties through the Housing Authority that we can do the best we can. It is a real problem. And understand that we're mandated to sell houses that fall back into tax claims. We're supposed to have a tax sale every year. We can't just collect properties and hold on to people's right.
Is there anything, like, if I apply for a job, and they ask me, you know, is type of application through?
It's a very small application, and you can tell them what's on it. And what we have on it is the maximum amount of limitations that we're allowed to by law to withhold them from being able to bid on the properties. They have to come in with a driver's license. They can't owe taxes, right, in this county on any other properties.
Like Bob Gilligbauer, who put it in other people's hands, and he said it publicly.
That's a challenge.
There's
That's
no
a challenge.
But there's no, the end result is, there's no repercussion.
Looking for it.
Well, one of the things that I remember came up at one of those meetings, and I don't know if it required local implementation of it through an ordinance, and I'm not entirely sure if it was proposed legislation or if it's actually been enacted, and Frank, maybe you're aware of it, was that for these absentee purchasers, they buy up, as you said, a bunch of properties. Well, now, we now have someone who we can hold accountable and put them on the hook, but they live 2 states away, so how do you reach out and touch them? There was legislation, and again, I think it may have only been proposed at the time, that would allow you to put liens on their properties that they own in other places. So I think,
That's like, we tried to stop that there by enacting the landlord-tenant ordinance. Is
okay.
It's a city issue, but
Think-
we've addressed it so much.
And I think,
Where do we go?
yeah, and I think that, and again, all these, at the different levels of government, it all ties together, and as I mentioned, that legislation, actually, I think we have a representative here from.
Representative's looking it up.
Representative Barletta's office, who's trying to look up to see if that has been passed. And that may be one of the reasons why it hasn't been implemented yet, is it hasn't been passed yet. But the idea was that we're not alone as a county in having that problem. That's happening all over, particularly the state of Pennsylvania, but other states as well. And this would give you a tool to go after that person then, because they may not care. They figure you're not going to come after them for this property in Pennsylvania. They live down in Florida somewhere. Well, now you can put a lien on the home they live in Florida if they aren't taking care of the one there. And that's the only way that I think you really end up holding people accountable, or they own a business property somewhere or whatever. So we'll take a look at that. But it certainly is something that's come to the forefront, at least in the last, I would say, 5-6 years, but all these things, because it's the machinations of government at all levels, it takes time until you get all the pieces in place. But people have recognized what the things are that could really help. It's a matter of now getting the legislation passing, and then after that's passed, making sure that you get that to the local communities who have to now adopt an ordinance that enables that legislation and things like that. So it's not going to, it didn't happen overnight, and unfortunately can't be fixed overnight, but there's people looking at it. We've been looking at it in conjunction with our state representatives and the local municipal officials. So to some degree, and I understand your frustrations with things, but to some degree, there's only certain things they can do too, and their budget's also only so big. So,
I think the point was just to make you guys aware.
yeah, no,
No, I
I
think-
appreciate you doing
The
that.
budget that they're given,
Their money is available, they're not spending
Yeah.
it, where's it going? What's
And that's another issue.
look
Yeah,
at right under the Act 47 for Shamokin, it shows you from 2011 until 2015.
Yeah.
For demolition.
Let us reach out to the city officials, and maybe we get the ball rolling and start looking into that, maybe coming up with some solutions to start. And
Just so you know, there is a meeting, the work session tonight at 6, and Monday is their number.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, there being none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.